Evie Magazine has had its fair share of controversies over the past few years, and so has the multi-billionaire Peter Thiel. Now, two familiar names to negative publicity are joining hands to create yet another, you guessed it, controversy. 28, a Femtech application that works essentially similar to a period tracker, is making rounds all over the world for all the wrong reasons. What's so wrong with a period tracking application? You'll have to watch to find out. Starting with, what is 28? On September 1st, Evie Magazine announced their latest venture, 28, a Femtech company that offered workout and nutritional tips based on a user's menstrual cycle, therefore requiring users to enter information about the first and last days of their cycles. But before the project officially had a name, the conservative version of Cosmopolitan announced its biggest funder yet, Thiel Capital, led by the German-American venture capitalist Peter Thiel. Thiel Capital recently financed over $3 million for the company. Investing in health and life sciences isn't unfamiliar territory for Thiel Capital, but funding a fertility startup is an unconventional turn for the venture capitalist. The news was met with even more skepticism, considering the fact that Thiel pays top dollar to right-wing conservative movements, and his investment in Evie Magazine's Femtech company comes weeks after Roe v. Wade was overturned. According to a Vice News publication, the technology and principle behind 28 sparks concern. Many are worried that a seemingly harmless wellness application could double as a political intersection between technology, female autonomy, and conservatism, and it seems like their skepticism might have a leg to stand on. The science of the app relies on women to get off modern contraceptive methods, such as birth control or hormonal pills and intrauterine devices. The website doesn't provide much information on a likely alternative, besides hinting at the fact that the focus would be on rhythmic cycling, that is, avoiding intercourse during peak ovulation days and redirecting the need when you're less likely to get pregnant. The rhythmic method is an ancient method known for its many drawbacks and limitations. Modern contraceptives, however, are no better, and that's the premise of the application. Next up, are Peter Thiel and Brittany Hugoboom made for each other? 54-year-old Peter Thiel is a conservative libertarian, and 33-year-old Brittany Hugoboom is a former model and TikTok content creator turned conservative media entrepreneur. The two share a mutual interest in right-wing politics and campaigns, which is why Thiel Capital's investment in 28 didn't come as a surprise to many. The two are also known for their outrageous ideas. Thiel has expressed several outlandish thoughts on women and health. In 2009, the venture capitalist stated that giving women the right to vote made the United States less libertarian. This, coming from a libertarian himself, definitely wasn't a compliment. In 2016, the multi-billionaire stated that he had been working with scientists on a fountain of youth transfusion experiment wherein he'd have young people's blood transfused into his body. Senior employees at Thiel Capital have since denied the fountain of youth transfusion experiment, claiming that the venture capitalist never made any statement to Inc. magazine. Thiel's recent stint was when he backed Hulk Hogan in his lawsuit against Gawker Media and essentially bankrupted the company. Brittany Hugoboom, on the other hand, founded Evie Magazine in 2018. The woman's magazine largely focuses on traditional womanhood and has therefore been accused of being transphobic in the past. Hugoboom announced 28 on Evie Magazine and advertised the period tracking application as an extension of the magazine's mission to raise awareness around the negative impact of modern birth control methods. According to Hugoboom, 28 would instead advocate for safer and natural alternatives. She further stated that the application's mission was to redirect women toward a subject matter that had been deemed off-limits in modern times. The announcement for the application was preceded by an article that introduced the reader to what Hugoboom called feminine fitness. Coming up next, Gabriel Hugoboom finds Peter Thiel to be an inspiration. Brittany Hugoboom's husband, Gabriel Hugoboom, had nothing but high praises for the man funding the couple's Femtech application. The couple made separate posts on Instagram announcing 28, with Gabriel addressing Peter by name instead of referring to Thiel Capital as the man who made it happen. Gabriel stated that Peter's book, 0 to 1, is something every budding entrepreneur needs on their shelf. The book allegedly explained the ins and outs of starting and running a company and solving any business problem in current times. That's a pretty tall order for any publication, but Gabriel was adamant that if anyone could make it happen, it was Peter. He went on to recall that Thiel was one of the earliest investors for Facebook. He founded PayPal and created one of America's biggest venture capital firms that, in turn, funded some of the world's best companies, including SpaceX. What's more, why would Thiel invest in 28? Well, one might argue that Thiel Capital regularly invests in right-wing media campaigns, and that 28 fits into that category. It's still odd that a big company such as Thiel Capital, that's funded organizations such as SpaceX, would want to kickstart a rather small business venture such as 28. Why is Thiel so eager to invest? According to Futurism, Thiel might be interested in gathering user data, something the multi-billionaire and lead investor has been accused of in the past, when he funded the CIA-backed program Palantir. However, Hugo Boom has maintained that user security would be one of 28's primary concerns. Vice Media claims that it'd be hard for Hugo Boom to keep that promise given the application's vague and admittedly sketchy software. The truth is, we're unsure what Thiel Capital has to gain from funding 28. There is the very real possibility that Thiel was motivated by Hugo Boom's application's anti-woke and anti-feminist agenda, something that has long been one of the venture capitalists' many interests. Next, in other news, what did Peter Thiel have to do with Bollea versus Gawker? Terry Eugene Bollea, known professionally as Hulk Hogan, sued the American online media company and blogging network Gawker Media for posting snippets from Bollea's sex tape with Heather Clem. Clem had been married to radio personality Bubba the Love Sponge at the time of the affair. Hogan argued that the company had violated his right to privacy, and Gawker Media maintained that a negative verdict in the case could affect the freedom of the press in the United States. The trial took 3 long years to reach a verdict, but Gawker Media was eventually ordered to pay $31 million to Bollea in damages and retributions. The case, realistically, could have gone both ways had Peter Thiel not intervened. The venture capitalist had been a known critic of Gawker after the media publication outed him back in 2007. Thiel referred to his $10 million pledge to Bollea in the case as his greatest philanthropic endeavor yet. Gawker Media went bankrupt as a result, and all employees were laid off. Next, reports are in for Thiel's dating app. The former aide to the United States President Donald Trump, John McEntee, co-founded a conservative dating app, The Right Stuff. The application claims it was designed for conservatives to connect in authentic and meaningful ways. Other dating apps have gone woke. We bring people together with shared values and similar passions. Reports for the application are in, and they're not promising. An all-female cast sat down for the application's promotional release video, where they described their ideal mate. The woman went from describing their ideal partner as someone who wanted kids to an alpha male, before blurting out that they were looking for someone who wasn't a Democrat. Not surprisingly, the application hasn't fared well amongst people online, with many people on Twitter making fun of the application and comparing it to a neo-Nazi blog by the same name. Many believe that there was never an application to begin with, and that the entire thing was a hoax. Finally, the California curse. Peter Thiel recently made a provocative statement at the National Conservatism Conference in Miami. The venture capitalist claimed that California had been suffering from a tech curse, a play on the term resource curse that suggests countries with abundant natural resources usually have failing economies and political systems of their own. Thiel went on to say that political challengers in the state made use of California's booming tech scene. They'd suggest that the public wealth, made mostly off the tech industry, would be going towards public schools. However, none of that money actually finds its way into the education system. Thiel alleged that the politicians in California pocketed all the money that was supposed to go toward the people of the state. He compared the prosperous and poor side of California to Saudi Arabia, a country with unlimited oil reserves, but with a notoriously corrupt political regime. Thiel's comments were based somewhat on the truth. A recent study suggested that 1 in 100 California natives leave the state in search of better opportunities, a contradiction of what was believed to be true for California itself in the past. That's all for today's video. What do you think about Thiel's interest in Evie Magazine's Femtech idea? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more content you wouldn't want to miss.